who's here?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Well, if it isn't Francis Tarkington.
Yeah, the man who can't stay in the pocket. I think he's put on a little weight.
Let's see if he still has his arm. Come on, Fran, throw me one.
Hey, let's show him a little defense.
Hey, let's show him a little defense. Get him, Jim.
Jim, I'm on you.
If you find yourself scrambling around as much as Fran Tarkington, you really ought to know about the shirt he's wearing. The knitted sports shirt from Arrow. It gives a man total freedom of movement. The supple knit fabric stretches as you stretch, moves as you move, doesn't bind, stays smooth. And even if it gets roughed up a little, you still wind up looking pretty terrific. The sport knit from Arrow. We call it the Scrambler. If it takes Fran Tarkington scrambling, it'll take yours.
Stacey, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Good, good. This is a cold afternoon. I'm sure it's a little colder where you're at than where I'm at, right?
Well, I think, yeah, it's a little windy here, a little cold, but the sun is out, so that's good.
All right. Well, you're in Minnesota. I'm New York, and this is kind of our debut show of Goal Beyond the Goal. So welcome, everybody that's watching out there, if you're a Viking fan or not. And we're both wearing purple, so it must be a Viking day.
Well, we got a good start.
We got a good start. You know, the Vikings sometimes have a good start, but we all know they always usually have a bad ending. Isn't that true?
Well, only one team wins at the end of the year.
That's right. That's right.
And it hasn't been the Vikings.
That's a great way of looking at it. But for over 56 years, we haven't been that one team.
No, good reminder. Thanks, Steve.
No problem. But that's what this show is all about, because we got to figure this thing out. Because as a Viking fan for my whole life, and I'm assuming you're a Viking fan for your whole life, we haven't figured it out. The Vikings haven't figured it out. The whole Twin City community hasn't figured it out. All the different coaches haven't figured it out. All the different general managers haven't figured it out. What is going on here? Is this a curse in Minneapolis or what?
Well, lots of people, and I think we'll hear from some fans today where they do believe that it might be a curse. And I think that I would prefer to not think it's a curse, because then we don't have a lot of control over that. But I know that they can do it, and I believe in them. And I love that picture of that little girl in the beginning where she put the little yellow stuff on her face, because that reminds me of me when I was a little girl and I became a Vikings fan, and we used to play football at halftime with my parents and our families, and those were good memories. And the Chuck Foreman days and the Fran Tarkington days were some of my favorite Viking memories.
Wow, so you played football with your father and your family at halftime to Viking games, and that must have been a cool thing.
Well, it was the best, and we looked forward to it. And we were all girls. The other family had 3 girls, and we had 3 girls. So it was our experience for football, because obviously we couldn't play football, and so it was really fun. Mm-hmm. Good memories.
Good memories. When you were in high school, did you play sports?
I played a lot of sports, not very well.
Okay. What sports did you play?
I water skied in boat shows. I played softball. I was a gymnast.
Oh, okay.
And, a little bit of a bunch of other things, but again, not great.
Hmm. Well, you know what? It doesn't have to be great, but you had that heart and the passion to do that. And I guess when you play sports, it brings people together. There's a competitiveness to it. But in sports, you could always strive to be the best you possibly can be. And I think before we get into the specifics of the work that you do and the work that I do, I think you have a quote that you usually live by in your professional work that you help others with and maybe empower others with. Maybe we could share that quote.
I think the quote that you're talking about is give yourself permission to not be perfect so you can become more excellent.
And talk about that because sometimes people are really hard on themselves and they kind of give up, if they feel that not perfect. And I think none of us are perfect, but it's a goal. I love that because you become more excellent. Striving for perfection, I guess, is the goal, but we may not ever achieve that, right?
Well, but I think that you're right. People are really hard on themselves and people want to be their best. But what happens is if I'm trying to be my best and I have an idea of what that looks like in my head, as soon as it doesn't go according to that idea, I mentally leave my body or I bail out. And so the idea of that quote is if we can give ourselves permission to not be perfect, then we can adjust as we go. So if something isn't going exactly the way I thought it should, I can still adjust. I can still move toward being my best, even if it's not perfect in this moment. And so mentally being able to stay with it and work on it, regardless of if it doesn't look the way I thought it did, was the way I thought it needed to be in the beginning.
Okay. All right. I know we're going to talk more specifically about the work that you do, so connected, and in this show, Goal Beyond the Goal. This show is going to be about talking about the work that you do and a circle, which you're going to explain to all of us in a few moments, but also to kind of connect the work that you do, the work that I do, to this Viking fandom. And the overall goal is perfection. We need to get a Super Bowl one of these days. And I think that you may have some answers that the Vikings may need. You think that's true?
Well, I think that, well, of course I do. But I think that more importantly, I think everybody can relate to a mentality that doesn't work out the way we want it to be, and some tips and some strategies to use to really support ourselves to be our best. And Goal Beyond the Goal is really a great mentality to have. Meaning, so Goal Beyond the Goal is about, yes, I want to do well. Yes, we want to win. Yes, I want to, score a touchdown. But what do I need to focus on right now to move me toward that? So many times in the NFL and with the Vikings, with their kickers, for instance, they're in a situation where they don't kick the ball through the upright in a pressure situation or in a situation where they need to. And so a goal beyond the goal can be really helpful to think about, okay, yeah, I need to kick the ball through the upright, but what do I need to focus on to move me toward that? And so it creates a window of opportunity instead of a wall that we get stuck on. And so I think any athlete can benefit from understanding what a goal beyond the goal is and how to use it in not just their sport, but really in their life.
It's well said. I can't wait to hear more about it. But as a Viking fan, it's kind of like the circle of life a little bit. We have a diagram as a Viking fan. I mean, this is the life. You get your hopes up because you want them to win. You want them so bad to do well, and then they don't. So they let you down. And then there's a moment where you make that shift and you start to believe again. I think, where are we right now? Our hopes are down, that's for sure. We got let down again this year. Are we at the point to start to believing again, or are we still on a downward trend?
Well, of course we're starting to believe again. We have a whole new set of people, right?
That's right.
And nobody wants to see anybody get fired or people losing their job. But I think it does bring a sense of new energy and hope when you have a new general manager and you have a new coach, that we're unaware of exactly who that is as far as the coach goes right now. But I think that always brings a new energy and a new sense of hope for us Viking fans.
And I know Viking fans, and you and I have talked about it, Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. Rick Spielman has been in the Vikings organization for over 20 years almost. And Mike Zimmer was the Vikings head coach for 8 years. And although they had some success, but that success never really materialized into even making the Super Bowl, and then not winning it. So there you have a picture of Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman, and now they're no longer with the Vikings. What are your thoughts about the changing of the guard here in Minnesota?
Well, Mike Zimmer, when he was hired, I really respected the fact that he had an extremely good mentality about his defense. He was known for his defense success. And I felt like he had a goal beyond the goal mentality about his defense. And his guys knew that if they did their job, which was to go after the ball, that they would get the pick six, or they would get the interception, or they would get the sack. And he showed that he understood how to get his guys to do their job, to be able to have that, pick six. And so that was a good goal beyond the goal mentality from my perspective. But I feel like they didn't know how to map that across into his offense. And so the resources that he brought to the table, I think, kind of faded over time because they didn't know how to build on that. They didn't know how to enhance that mentality that he was really good at with his defense into the offense. And so then I just felt like he didn't quite know what to do, or he didn't know how to mentally create more success with his offense from that perspective, which I felt was unfortunate for him, because I know he was really, really good about that.
Right. I mean, he came in as a defensive guru, and they made the playoffs a couple of times, but this year, I mean, they lost so many heartbreaking games. I think 5 or 6 of them at the last play of the game. I mean, they won a couple of those too, but it just seemed like the whole coaching staff was comfortable of getting to that point of making it to the last play of the game or in the last quarter. And it just felt this year that they didn't know how to maneuver to get that win, or that time management, or the performance that's needed to get them over the top. It seemed like they were settling a little bit to get to that last series of downs before each game, and we often got hurt this year, and obviously an 8-9 record not being in the playoffs showed, and it ultimately cost the jobs of Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. Now is a new staff. Now we're looking for a new coach. The Vikings are looking for a new coach, but we've hired this young, energetic general manager who came over from the Cleveland Browns, and he has some pedigree with the San Francisco 49ers. Kwesi Odofo-Mensah, I think he's like 40, 41 years old, but he has a wealth of talent and a vision. And what I like about him, Stacey, is that he comes from a winning attitude with the San Francisco 49ers. Although they went to the Super Bowl and they didn't win, he has that edge like the Viking fans do, or the players and the coaches have, that they're trying to achieve to get that Super Bowl ring. What do you think of this young man stepping in and taking over the reins for Rick Spielman?
Well, I think, again, it provides a lot of hope, and it provides a lot of energy that we are all excited about. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that the Vikings lacked a little bit of a goal beyond the goal mentality, and they lacked a little bit of a go after it and play their game and play to win. Right. I think when you have a defensive coach, and I can't speak for Zimmer, but from what we've seen is if you're playing to not lose, that is a mentality. That is a way to go about a game. But if our new general manager, like you said, he looks like he's got a play to win mentality. And that's really exciting, because I think that the teams that made the playoffs this year clearly showed play to win mentality, and they played their best game. They played their game and would beat their opponent instead of not lose, or try to not lose. And so that's frustrating for Vikings fans, because then it always came down to the last play, the last, downs, whatever that was. And it didn't always end up in our favor, because when you play to not lose, it can be very stressful.
Mm-hmm. And the Vikings, and later on in the show, we're going to see some 5 choke jobs that the Vikings had over the years, and including 4 Super Bowl losses, some NFC championship losses, some last-minute losses, always heartbreak, always heartbreak. I remember 1998, because from New York, I had a chance to go to Minnesota to check out the championship game against the Atlanta Falcons. At the time, the Vikings were rolling 15-1. They were going to Miami. They were going to the Super Bowl. So I remember, I knew I couldn't afford a Super Bowl ticket, so I said, I want to go with my Minnesota peeps, my Minnesota friends, and see the Vikings go into the Super Bowl. So yet again, I let my guard. That's me and Wade Wilson back in the day before that. It's you got the 70s look there, or maybe the 80s look. I don't know which look that is, but it was an exciting time. But the Vikings were ahead the whole game until the very end, where again, management, administration, coaching, play, missed field goals and everything came down to a Gary Anderson field goal, which was missed. The Falcons did the dirty bird and danced all over us in Minnesota. They went to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. So, I have a long-standing history of being a Vikings fan, but I don't have to contend with the below zero temperatures that you do. So after that game, I remember the next day hopping on a plane going back to New York, and it was like 30, 32 degrees, but it wasn't like 10 below that you guys have to suffer and endure after these Viking losses every winter.
No, that's true. You get to go back to New York, where I don't think it's warm there, though, Steve. I think it may not be below zero, but yeah, there you go. That's how we feel.
That's how I felt, and that's why, but I saw grown people cry in 1998 in the stands, and I was one of them, actually. So, I take it really hard, but that's not me, but it's somebody like me, and there's a little joke about the 10,000 lakes and all that kind of stuff. But I love Minnesota. I love Minneapolis. I love the Twin Cities. I got a chance to go to Minnesota. We connected. We gave out 100 free tickets to the Minnesota Twins, to agency, the Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities, Achieve, a couple of other nonprofit agencies. It's all about giving back in our Chapters network. I just want to share a little bit what we do here. Chapters Community Support Services is a nonprofit 501c3 that's been established for a couple of years now. And our philosophy, we're advocates for advocates. So we can be contacted. That's our number there. That's me in my blue suit and our logo. It's one chapter at a time, where unity and diversity meet one chapter at a time. What we do, we advocate for others through networking, collaboration, support, and providing a platform. We have 15 different shows, and 70% of our hosts and people behind the scenes, or tech people, or engineers, or stagehands, or mentors, have some sort of adversity that they're dealing with. 70%. So everything that we've been able to do as a psychologist, that's what I'm most proud of, that we can provide a platform for others that need that second chance. And I can't be more happy of the things that have developed over the last couple of years, especially during this pandemic, how we can give back as a network and a nonprofit agency. And part of that, I got to meet you on one of our shows, Kick Unhealthy Relationships to the Curb, with Stephanie McPhail, and I learned all about what you do. So then you were gracious enough, you mailed me your books, and I read it. I live by these things. I love everything that you do about it, and it's really, really cool, because you're out there either virtually or in person helping and changing this world in such a big way. So I want to thank you for everything that you do. But this all didn't start with the Vikings. It didn't start with your books. I think it started with your daughter, if I remember right. Is that right?
Absolutely. Well, I had been doing some coaching before my daughter came home, and my daughter is a gymnast. And about 11 years ago or so, she came home from practice one day and she said, "Mom, Sarah asked me to do a back walkover on the high beam and I couldn't do it." And as every mom of an athlete who has their athlete has an issue like this, I said to her, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. And she said, that is not going to work. And, you know, as a mom, we all do everything we can, and a dad, to give our kids the solutions that they need and to provide them the ability to be their best. And I was getting my master's in that time, and I realized that this was a mental disconnect or a mental piece that she needed a solution for. And so she was 9, and I started working with her, and I started giving her some tools and techniques. And my work, my company is called So Connected, and my work is about giving people tools and strategies to help them connect their mind to their body better, and bringing awareness to what in the past was happening unconsciously or happening automatically, and giving them the ability to manage what's going on in their head. So many athletes are told to get out of their head. Don't worry about it. You got it. You did it yesterday. Why can't you do it today? And that doesn't work. You know, it's kind of like if I could just tell athletes to be confident and that worked, we would all be perfectly confident. But it doesn't work. And so a lot of times when an athlete has something going on mentally, a disconnect between their mind and body, what happens is all kinds of things can get between their mind and their body. And that's what people are seeing. Those are the symptoms of the problem. Lacking confidence, where they balk or they freeze or they can't kick it through the upright when they need to. All of those things are the symptom of the problem. And so my work is about creating and giving them a way to solve the problem and to connect the dots and to be their best and to perform in their potential.
That it must be so rewarding in the work that you're doing now, because it all stemmed organically and naturally with your daughter that kind of inspired you to do the work that you're doing now. And I believe you're affecting like thousands of athletes and people internationally, which is a major credit to you and the work that you do. So this show is not just going to be talking about the Vikings. It's actually talking about that relationship you have with your clients, but also I saw something like a circle there. If you could explain a little bit what a circle is so our new viewers out there could understand the format and the foundation of the work that you do.
Well, I'm a master practitioner in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And Neuro-Linguistic Programming is basically, it's not what happens to us that matters, it's our perception of it that runs our life. And so when something happens to us, we have a perception of that, and that idea gets grooved in our neurology. So if I fall off the beam, it's not falling off the beam that's the problem. It's the idea that I perceived from that. Now I don't want to fall off again, or now I'm a bad person, or now I'm going to upset my coach. So whatever that perception is gets grooved in my neurology, and I behave according to that mentality. And so A Circle is a technique I created to give people the ability to be aware of what's actually going on in their mind or in the back of their head. And so everybody has what I call an A circle, a B circle, and a C circle. And there's no right or wrong way with how this is set up. It's a way for us to understand what's controlling us or what's running the show for us in any given situation. So whoever or whatever, and Steve, you can think about this for yourself. Whoever or whatever is in your A circle is who or what is making decisions for you, or who or what is running the show for you in that situation. B circle are people or things that support you to make a decision, or they can influence your decisions, but they're not making it for you. And C circle is everything else that doesn't matter, or everything else outside of that. Now, we can have lots of things in our A circle. We can have people. If you think of an athlete, they could have their parents in their A circle. If I say to my daughter, Olivia, why can't you do it? You did it yesterday. It's not what I say to her that matters, but if she perceives that as more pressure or stress, then that's not helpful for her to have in her A circle. She can also have her coaches in her A circle. And that can affect her in a positive or negative way, depending on how she sees it. We can also have teammates or our family, our friends in our A circle. We can also have thoughts that are in our A circle at times. If I have a thought, I don't want to fall off the beam, or I don't want to lose my job, or what if I don't kick it through the upright? What's going to happen? Those thoughts can be controlling us or running the show for us in different situations. And we can also have energy in our A circle. Fear, anxiety. How many of us have anxiety in our A circle controlling us? And we can also have confidence in our A circle. And so depending on what is going on and what situation we're in, that can affect how we perform and how we behave. And so my job is to help people be aware of what is going on in their A circle so that they can be, with that awareness, they can adjust. Mm-hmm. They can do something about it. They can move forward with another way to manage their situation.
Well, Stacey, you know what? This is we're gonna get back to that because that's the foundation of our show, Goal Beyond the Goal. But it's also about the Vikings. We have a couple of Viking fans that want to chime in, and so we have a couple of them ready to go. So you ready to take some calls?
Sure, sounds great.
Right, so I think first we got Ron from Florida, who I know has been a lifelong Viking fan, a disappointed Viking fan. But this guy, he has a whole boat in Florida with the Vikings logo on. You still have that boat, Ron?
I do.
Don't say it confidently, though. I mean, what's going on with the Vikings, man?
Well, you know, we're all long-suffering Viking fans. I mean, but we can't change at this point, you know? I mean, we were born into it, most of us anyway, and we don't change our colors.
You could easily change teams. I mean, you're in Florida. Tampa Bay is not such a bad team to jump on board with.
Well, I root for the home team after the Vikings, but, you know, I'll always be a Viking, always have been, my kids, my grandkids, although it's pretty funny because sometimes they ask me, gee, Dad or Grandpa, why do we have to be born Viking fans, you know? And I tell them now, look at the Cincinnati Bengals, look what they achieved. And I said, yeah, but we didn't. So, you know, to me, a fan is a fan. You stay with your team, and God willing, before we're dead and cold, as they say. I actually got a couple of gifts from my kids with T-shirts and things, something along those lines, you know. But I'll never change. Heck, it's tattooed all over my body. It's all over our house, our boat, our cars. Everything's purple and gold. So we'll see.
I love you. You know, during this show, I had a cycle of being a Vikings fan. I don't know if we could pop that on the screen so Viking Ron could check that out because it's so cool, but it's very disappointing at the same time because we get our hopes up, we get let down, and we start to believe again.
Right.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, but I think we all agree that we don't get our hopes up too high anymore because it only sets us up for disappointment. I mean, a 27-yard field goal that Blair Walsh couldn't make. Gary Anderson, a 38-yard field goal. He hadn't missed the whole year, but, well, he missed. So every time we come that close, you know, it's very frustrating. Now, if we were a team like the Cleveland Browns where we just don't even come close, well, that's different. But, yeah, we've had the unfortunate ability to come that close just to fall just that much short.
Stacey, what do you think about Viking Ron, what he's saying? Do you agree or disagree? I mean, can you set him straight a little bit?
Well, no, I feel for Ron. I know exactly how Ron feels. I don't have tattoos on my body about the Vikings, so I have to applaud you about that because that's going to that next layer, that next level. I don't have a boat with, wow.
There we go, skull.
It's just one.
And I am too, but I tend to want to burn my clothes after they lose.
But you get discounts, don't like 50 or 70% off at the stores after they lose?
At the end of the season?
At the end of the season, yeah, right? That's the time to get it. But Ron's a diehard, and I think this show, Ron, thank you for calling in because this show is going to take a look at Viking fandom and why we suffer so much and why we continue to suffer. but we're going to take another look at it. And Stacey does a lot of great work, and with people, with athletes, and we believe. I'm a psychologist. We believe we could tweak it a little bit. We might get that Viking Super Bowl. I don't know, but Viking Ron, thank you so very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Anytime. You guys take care now.
Thank you. So we're going to go right to our next caller, and it's actually Donna and her mom, Isabel Montgomery. Donna Peterson and Isabel Montgomery. And Isabel has a really special story because she is over 101 years young. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And she's a big Vikings fan.
That's a long time.
That is a long time. So, and there they are, Donna, Isabel. Thank you for joining Goal Beyond the Goal. That's Stacey Goodrich. I'm Steve Vaccaro. Stacey's in Minnesota, and I'm in New York. And we had the pleasure of I had the pleasure of meeting both of you a couple of months back. So thank you very much. And there we are, right in your living room there. And Donna, we met at a football feast. You were running out the door. I think Stacey ran and got you, and then we interviewed you, and then you told me about your mom. There we are.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, there we are. Since that time, Isabel's turned 102, and wasn't able to celebrate. She had pneumonia, but here she is, bounced back and feeling pretty good, right, Mom?
Right. Yes.
And she thought,
wow. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. I don't know if, Isabel, you remember me coming to your home, but
I certainly do.
I want to thank you.
Porch.
Yes, on the front porch. Yeah, I want to thank you for your hospitality. You overlook a beautiful lake, and it was such a wonderful day. And we actually went back twice. And Stacey, what do you think about Donna and Isabel?
Well, it's incredible. It's so good to have you guys on, and thank you for being here. And I didn't get to meet Isabel, but I think that it's just incredible. And it's hard to be a Vikings fan, so I have to hand it to you for you to hang in there so long, like longer than I have been a fan, I'm sure.
That's right.
Well, we're happy to be here, too. I love the wheel that you had, the Vikings wheel of fandom. And I really do agree with you, Stacey, that we're on that upward, because as soon as I heard about the GM, I got a little excited about, okay, who's going to be the coach? And I was sad about losing the, Zimmer. I was kind of feeling like Spielman needed to go, because I felt like he did some good drafts, but some weren't so good. I'm trying to be optimistic about next season, and I still have my season tickets, so who knows, Mom?
Well, I don't know if you heard that Brady retired today, so we have a chance if we play with their team.
But Isabel, you got voted as one of the top 60 fans or 50 fans or 100 fans, Viking fans, right?
Well, 60-year anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because...
Wow.
Well, she had a good story, too.
She had a good story, too.
Because
but Donna, you're a season ticket holder, and you go to all the Viking games. And is it hard to come back each and every year? I mean, do you think about them winning the Super Bowl every year, or is it something where it's going to end very badly?
Well, I tend to think, we're gonna get to the playoffs, and who knows, a big disappointment this year. But then I always get happy when the Packers lose. So then it kind of erases a little bit of the trauma and the negativity. But and I date a Packer fan, so then I get to see his disappointment, and kind of brings me up. Sounds kind of negative.
Oh, okay. So you put I like the Viking fans because they want to win, but at the same time they want to put the Packer fans down. And you know what?
Right.
We've dealt with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers might not be around, so we got a shot. What do you think, Stace?
Oh, I think we always have a shot. We can always beat the Packers at least one game a season, so we got that going for us. There's always that rivalry, and we somehow managed to beat them one game a year. And I think that Don and I both agree that that's a good day for us when we do.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, I have in New York. I have a lot of Packer fans, friends as fans. And
Well, it's easy to be a Packer fan.
I know, right?
It's
Because
really easy to be a Packer.
just
It's
jump
not
on board.
a fan.
But the Packers have two quarterbacks over the last almost 25 years, maybe almost 30 years. How many quarterbacks have we had? We've had just about 30 quarterbacks in that time. I mean, that's the difference in the two franchises, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many we've had, but it sure has been a lot more than two. And then I look at Spielman and I go, yeah, you know, he's drafted enough quarterbacks as far as I'm concerned and put us kind of where we are. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what this analytics kind of guy from Princeton and Stanford, you know, who supposedly has some of the answers, plans to hire.
So Donna, you've been a season ticket holder for a couple of years now. Are you renewing your season tickets?
Yeah, well, see, you got to buy that seat license. Right. So when you go to try to sell, you better have someone who wants to pay some of that, or you better recoup it by selling some of the tickets. And like you said, Steve, I've been going to every game, and then of course the only game I would have sold was the Chicago Bears, and I put them in. Of course, there were no takers because the stadium was pretty much probably maybe 1/5 full. I don't know. It looked pretty empty.
But why do you think the Vikings don't win? I have a couple of theories, but Stacey always shoots me down when we talk about this because, first of all, you know, the Vikings starting outside in Bloomington, and I really think they were those teams. I mean, they went to 4 Super Bowls and never won, but Bud Grant and Fran Tarkenton and Chuck Foreman and the Purple People Eaters, I mean, they had to fight in the cold each and every time. So when those teams came into Minnesota, that's when he's with the Giants. That's how I became a Viking fan. And being from New York, I love the Giants and Fran Tarkenton. And then he got traded back to Minnesota. I had to make a choice in second grade. Do I keep being a Giants fan or do I follow my hero? I decided to follow my hero, Fran Tarkenton, and look where it's got me. No Super Bowl, nothing.
No regrets, right, Steve?
No regrets, but I get ridiculed almost each and every year, and I get text messages after all those missed field goals from all my friends, and it's really bad. It's really bad. But Stacey, what do you think? Why do you think the Vikings have not won?
Well, you know, I don't claim to know the ins and outs of the what's going on, but from the outside, as far as a mental strength coach goes, there are some things that we can do to maximize our opportunities, and goal beyond the goal is one of those strategies. You know, Tom Brady has a great goal beyond the goal mentality. Aaron Rodgers does as well. They're not necessarily focused on the result. They're doing what they need to do to get the best result that they can, and then they don't have that result in what I call their A circle. They're on to the next thing. And I always look at the teams that are winning at the end of the season, and they have a great goal beyond the goal mentality. They don't have the pressure in their A circle affecting them negatively. And so when you see that, and those are the teams that are winning, it just goes to show you that there is a way to mentally manage our situation in a better way.
We have another fan that's going to join us with Donna and Isabel. Marty, are you there?
I believe so, yes. Can you hear me?
I think so. I know you have that Minnesota accent, so I could tell that you're in Minnesota.
No, I don't have an accent. I tell everybody else we don't have accents up here.
No, you guys got to talk like me a little bit. That's the problem here.
You sound pretty normal.
Okay, I'm pretty normal. I'm pretty normal. But I don't know. A Viking fan's normal. I don't know. I'm debating that right now. But Marty, you sell memorabilia in Minnesota. What's the feeling about with Viking fans? Why do they keep coming back? And why do people like myself buy Fran Tarkenton stuff, John Randall jerseys, and Chad Greenway helmets and things like that? Why do people want that Viking stuff?
Well, because we are still hoping that eventually we'll be able to be like the Bengal fans and go, wow, it's going to happen. So we keep thinking now, of course, Zimmer gets fired and now a new GM. So we're just hoping they're putting together finally a good team, or I should say the personnel that will help bring a Super Bowl.
And why do you think, Marty, that the Vikings haven't won all these years? And I'm going to have Stacey respond to your answer. Be careful, Marty, because Stacey's ready to go.
Why haven't they won? I don't know. It just seems like when you watch the Vikings, and as a fan, and I talk to my other fans that watch the game, it's like in the fourth quarter, you just start getting that feeling like, here we go again. So it must be something with our mindset that we can just see that things aren't going well, and they're just going to give it away. And so that's kind of that feels like the mindset. And it's weird that it doesn't matter who the coach is, who the defensive players are, the Vikings find a way to let a quarterback who hasn't played before come in for a game, like Cooper Rush against the Cowboys, and he looks like a superstar.
I don't know why that happened. Stacey, any thoughts about what Marty just shared?
Well, I agree, Marty. We know that there, at some point, the mindset has a lot to do with what's going on. And you're right. If our, I want our quarterback and our team to know that they can do it. I want confidence in their A circle. I want them to be able to go after what they know they can do, and not be worried about the result, not be affected by the pressure. And if our quarterback is making a lot of money, I don't want that to affect his ability to just throw the ball. And so we tend to play to not lose instead of playing to win. And we have the ability to play to win and to play our best game, but we just haven't seen that. And when you have a lack mentality, it's kind of like when you don't believe in yourself, you're kind of not in your body. You're being held back versus going after what you know you can do. And I think we've seen that over the years with the Vikings. And that's frustrating for all of us because we know they can do it, and they just haven't put it all together. But I think with a better mindset, that could make a big difference in how they play.
So I'm not going to speak for you, Stacey, but can we get these fans your books? We get them mailed. They're from Minnesota. They might like to read this stuff. It's getting very cold. There's no more playoffs for us, and we got to watch the Bengals and the Rams. Can they get a free book from you?
Yeah, I'll send them out.
All right. Now go, Donna. I want to thank Donna. Marty, thank you so very much for joining us. Stay with us for a second. Don, I want to thank you because I got the chance to meet Paul Allen, who's the voice of the Vikings. He's a radio announcer, and you were kind enough to take a couple of pictures when I was talking with Paul Allen, and he did such a great job, and he kind of really, there's me and Paul sharing a moment, and Donna, you captured that, and he's listening to me. I gave him Stacey's books. I gave him my card, and I think he may be interested in hearing what Stacey has to say. There's me and Paul. Stacey, what do you think if we try to connect with Paul Allen?
Oh, I think it'd be fantastic. I think he's got a daughter who plays volleyball, and I have athletes from professional down to my youth kids and everything in between, with Olympians and elite and world champions and a lot of college Division 1, 2, and 3 athletes. So I think we would have a great conversation.
I think we got to try for that. What do you think, Donna? And Isabel, can you help us out?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea, and for starters, I don't know how much connection you have with the Vikings players themselves, Stacey, but it would be a good idea for some of those players, especially pivotal players like Cousins and some of our defenders, who you could see they're not in that game out, and it doesn't bode well for the Vikings when that happens.
So we need your help because I have my Kirk Cousins cereal every morning, so I eat my Kirk Cousins cereal. But is he going to be traded, or are we sticking with him? What's going on? Marty, what do you think?
Well, I like him a lot, and if you look at all the other quarterbacks out there, who would they bring in to get rid of him to take his place? I mean, yeah, maybe it'd be less money, but I don't know. I hope they stay. with him. I guess we'll know in a few weeks once we get a new coach. And we'll probably know before the draft starts. You think if they're going to make a trade, they'll do it before the draft.
And maybe we'll get one of those guys. Maybe Jim Harbaugh will come back from the college ranks and lead our team. We'll have to wait and see. But Marty, before you go, what memorabilia agency you work for, and how can they get a hold of you?
It's actually really simple. We're Universal Sports Auctions out of Bloomington, Minnesota. So us-auctions.com is our website.
And I want to thank you because you mailed everything out really nicely. It didn't break in the mail. I really have it. My friend talking to Bud Grant, signed autographed pictures on the wall. So I'm visiting another Super Bowl. We got to get there though. And Marty, thank you so very much for joining us. And we will see each other down the road real soon.
Thanks, Steve.
God bless. So Donna, Isabel, you're going to continue to be a Vikings fan, right?
Yes. Did you know that Cousins is playing in the Pro Bowl Sunday?
Oh, he's playing the Pro Bowl, huh?
He's taking Rogers' place.
Oh, okay. All right. And the game's in Las Vegas. Who do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl, the Rams or the Bengals?
I'm rooting for the Rams. And I should root for the Bengals because they're, a sad story like the Vikings. But so is Stafford. He's been on the losing Detroit Lions forever, and now he's got an opportunity. I don't know. If either one of them would make me happy. I was rooting for both of those teams in the playoffs, and they made it through. So, yeah.
That's right. I'm a Matthew Stafford guy too, and because he was with the Lions, he's almost kind of like the North Division. He's right representing us, and he had a lot of hard luck. You think the Vikings have had it bad? The Lions have had it really bad over the years, and I think he's getting his due now. Matthew Stafford. What do you think, Stacey?
Oh, I agree. I really like him. I think he's got nothing to lose. He's just going all in and going after it, and it'll be interesting to see how they both speak about it over the just about it, because I'll be able to hear mentally what they got going on, and it'll be interesting to watch them.
So if you were in Kirk Cousins' head, if you had 5 minutes with Kirk Cousins, Stacey, you think you'd get through with him?
Well, he's got a lot of great resources. It's not about what he does a really great job most of the time. It's just that every once in a while he gets something in his way of him being able to take that opportunity to win and to know that he can win. So there's something going on with him that it's not necessarily anything that he's physically doing wrong. It's just that I would have that conversation of what's in your A circle in certain situations. And he may not know that that's actually controlling him and his ability to do his best or make it all happen. He's got it in him. He's got a lot going really, really well. But mentally, it would just be interesting to have that conversation with him to see what is going on in his A circle at times.
So how do we, you guys, Donna and Isabel and State, we got to get this book in the hands of Paul Allen. Well, he already has it. Yeah. You have to get this to the Vikings or any professional team that needs to see mental strength coaching journal for athletes, because it's not just winning and losing and X's and O's. It's really the mindset of athletes and how they approach a game or a competition, as we learn what Stacey was saying. And as we move forward in this show in weeks to come, we're going to hear more about that. So Donna and Isabel, I want to thank you so very much for joining us. And Isabel, you are a true blessing. When I came to Minnesota, it was the highlight of my trip, and to be sitting in your home and to get to know you, it's a moment I'll never forget in life. And God bless you, Isabel.
Thank you very much.
Can I say one prediction?
Sure.
I think if Harbaugh is the guy, I think Cousins stays, and it could be that way with another choice, but I think Harbaugh, he'd be the one to just say, okay, this is it, we're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
before, but think about it. You know, he's been there. He might have the right A circle that we need, and I think he would. I agree with Marty in that Cousins. You know, he's our best choice right now. There isn't that much out there for the Vikings to tap into, but I would like to see Cousins make a deal so that he can provide some extra money against the cap to bring in some defense, you know, and or some good linemen. But that will remain to be seen, I guess. But anyway, my prediction is Harbaugh.
Okay, I'm with you. I want Harbaugh too. He's a winner. I think he's feisty. I think it's right along with what Stacey was saying. So, Donna and Isabel, thank you very much for joining us. We're gonna ask you to come back on shows in the future, and I'm sure we'll see each other down the road real soon. So, God bless both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Wow, incredible women, Stacey.
Love that picture.
Yeah, is it cool, isn't it?
Love that picture, yeah.
It's really cool. Before we go, we're almost out of time, but we want to show our viewers when we come back. We have 5 of the biggest Viking choke jobs for our viewers out there. We want to show this video and just, have a sip of your adult beverage and take this in, because after this, it's all positivity from here on out. But let's check out the little Vikings history.
And the clock continues to run, PA.
17, 16, 15.
See, they have to go deep into the end zone.
We better put some people in the end zone, right, Joe?
That's exactly right.
I mean, there's nobody inside the 10.
Get back, guys.
Here it is. The season's on the line. 2 receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. I believe it was caught by Nate Poole. He's being mugged by his Cardinal teammates. They're Minnesota Vikings crying on the field.
McDermott is the snapper. And the kick is no good. Wow. Go figure. Oh, baby, yeah. It's time to pray to the heavens, Michael. You're right. No good. Not even close.
Favre sprints to his right, throws back across the middle, and he's intercepted. Porter. The return by Porter, and he's brought down with 7 seconds left. You're going to see Brett Favre as he rolls out. If he just runs with it, he's got open field. He's going to pick up 10, maybe 15 yards. Then they're obviously in field goal range. Instead, he tries to make a play. This is the cardinal sin for any quarterback, throwing back across the grain as you're rolling to your right. You cannot see defenders that are then coming underneath in pursuit. And Porter there to make the interception, and Favre knows he made a huge mistake.
That'll bring on Anderson. Yeah, you see it and you go back, and I don't mean to second guess, but just kind of put, the way the game is played. If Minnesota makes this field goal here now, they get a 10-point lead. Had Atlanta on that 4th down kicked the field goal, then this couldn't happen. And Anderson hasn't missed in 2 years. So that's a pretty good bet if you say, do you think Gary Anderson will make this field goal? The answer should probably be yes. 39 yards away, and it's not good.
2 seconds left. He is going to throw. Here's that.
He got it. Touchdown. I didn't know they had it for a while. Got the ball back. I don't believe it. He just threw the ball over the scoreboard. I don't believe it. The ball was thrown short, and the defender was not watching, and Pearson came back to make the catch for him. Boy, what a play that was. What a ball game, huh? So the Dallas Cowboys move in to the championship game of the NFC.
Crazy, right?
Good times there, Steve.
Good times. And that's not even counting all 4 Super Bowl losses. You know, so we have to turn the tide, Stacey. I feel that, you know, with your knowledge, your books, and the work that you've done with athletes, and the work that I've done in the community and bridging people together, I mean, this might be the opportune time to really connect with people in a different way, and to kind of teach them what A-Circle is all about, but also the mindset of athletes and people. And I think it's strength in numbers, and to turn the tide, you know, like those people all in the stands, as you see in the background, we all got to have a different mindset, you know, in life, in sports, with the Vikings in general. So I want to thank you for the outstanding work that you've done for so long. And I think our first show, I mean, we had a mixture of a whole bunch of different things, and it's all about a new vision, developing a new look on things, and maybe a new mindset, so that we don't have Mr. Viking crying all the time and all of us crying. What do you think?
Well, at the end of the day, I think if people are connected and they can move from a congruent perspective and live their best life, that's what we're all looking for. And it does have a lot to do with mindset. And I love the Vikings, and I want them to win. And I think that having a good mindset would be really beneficial for them. So you just never know.
So don't get rid of your purple. Continue to buy your Viking stuff. We're going to get through this together. It's a cold winter, but we're going to come back real soon for another show. We want to thank all our guests, Viking Ron and Marty and Donna and Isabel and everybody that's tuned in. This show will be rebroadcasted on some local cable outlets in the Minnesota area, and also in New York and abroad. We're already connecting with people in Florida and the West Coast. So look out for your book. Stacey, how can people get a hold of your book?
It's on Amazon. And my website is so-connected.com. They can go on my website. And I have a Facebook group, Athletes Who Settle for More, that they can join and learn more about what I do and how I work with athletes. Those are some different places to connect. Thanks,
all right.
Steve.
Well, God bless, and we'll see you down the road. Stay warm and continue to do the great work and go beyond the goal, and we will stay connected. So we'll see you next week, guys.
All right.